Hello musicians, my name is Andrew Mercer. Welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to make beats, how to make really cool music using samples. Now samples are small little pieces of sound. It could be a small drum sound, it could be a small bass sound or a piano sound, all kinds of things like that. You know, any kind of sound you can think of. Well, we're going to talk about how to make beats, how to make rhythms, how to make music out of these samples. Now we're going to be using a free website today to explore how to do sample-based composition, and it's called learningmusic.ableton.com. So you can go to this site and it's free to use. You can go to this site and this is where we're going to explore all kinds of ways to make really cool music using samples. So let's get started. Okay musicians, let's get started. When you first go to learningmusic.ableton.com, you're going to come to this page right here. This is the first place to start. Now, when you first get here, on the left-hand side, you'll see a little stack of, I don't know, like a burger over on the left-hand side. You can see it over here. This is where you can see the menu. And you can see beats, notes and scales, chords, bass lines, melodies, song structures, the playground, advanced tips, and where do you go from here? Well, we're going to start at getting started right here. If you go down, scroll down a little bit, you're going to see this grid, this matrix here that has drums, bass, chords, and melodies. If I click on drums right here, you'll hear that we get a drum sound. If I click on the second one down, the original drum sound stops and a new one starts. Let's try the third. And let's try the fourth. There you go. So you can see you can click on different drum sounds and you're going to get different sounds. Well, let's go to the bass. It added in a bass part. Let's try the second bass. How about the third? And the fourth? So you can see that both these, the bass and the drums, are both playing. If I go back to the first drum one, you can see we can mix and match the bass and the drums. Okay, so if I push stop on both of these squares, they'll stop. How about chords? Let's try the second one. And the third. And the fourth. So you can see now we have melody as well. Let's try the second one. And the third one. And the fourth one. Okay, so now we have 4 elements that we can use to create our beats. We have a drum element, a bass element, chord element, and melody elements. Now, you may not quite understand what all these words mean. You may not know what chords mean. You may not know what melody means. We'll get to that. But for now, why don't you try playing around with these different sounds? Try maybe, I don't know, something like this, like this, and like this. Then after a little while, you can stop the drums, restart it with the new one. Use your imagination. So there you go. Go ahead now and pause me here and spend a couple of minutes playing with this, and then we'll continue. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back. I hope you had fun playing with these different elements, the bass, the drums, chords, and melodies. Now let's go on to the next step. If you scroll down to the bottom here, it says next, make beats. Now let's talk a little bit about beats first of all. Let's talk a little bit about beats. There are 2 different sort of meanings of beats that we hear a lot these days. We hear about beats meaning like rhythms with drums and guitars and keyboards, and this is it's a beat that sometimes people sing over or they rap over. So you hear about some great beat makers like Kanye West or Timbaland, many different beat makers that make beats, and then people can rap over those beats. Okay, but traditionally there's another term that means beat, and beat means the pulse. It's an ongoing pulse in the sound. So if I'm singing something like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, this is the beat. It's like a non-stop pulse that goes on through the music. Okay, so that's traditionally what beat means. But these days, past 10 or 15 years, we're hearing beat meaning a piece of music, like maybe a small, short piece of music that can be looped, repeated, so that people can perform over them. So that's what we're talking about here. When we refer to making beats in here, we're talking about making these small pieces of music that can be performed over. So let's continue on. So next we're going to go to, this is going to be the second page of our Ableton site. So here we go, make beats. I'm going to first say is click the button to start playback right here. So I'm going to close that. And if we push play here, pretty cool, pretty cool. So we're hearing a pattern. We're hearing a beat. These are percussion sounds. By the way, percussion sounds, percussion means anything that can be like makes a hitting sound, a scrape sound, or a shaking sound. That's basically anything percussion. So if we click over here on the left-hand side, I'm going to go down here on this left-hand side down here, you'll see we have open hat, click, a closed hat, clap, and kick. So if I click those, I'm clicking with my mouse here. You see I can hear what the sounds are. You see that? Now, we have down here at the bottom, we also see that we have some numbers that go all the way across. We're going to refer to these right now as steps. Okay, now I'm going to make reference to it in a different way a little later, but for now, let's call these steps. So step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on. Okay, we're going to refer to these as steps right now. So you can see here we have a kick, the kick sound, which is a bass drum like a low thud. That's on step 1, and on step 8, 11, and 16. So if we push play, and then we have our clap sound. Here's our clap right here. We have clap on 5 and on 13. We have our closed hi-hats are on 1 and 2, 5, 7. You see what I'm doing here. And then the other one too, we have an open hi-hat. Now, we're going to talk more about what these instruments are a little later, but you can see the way that they're laid out. You can see the way they're laid out. And when we're making music using this system in here, we can, by clicking in any of these squares, we can lay in sounds on any specific step that we want. You see? And if you clear up at the top, you can clear them all off. So you can actually change your beat. So let's say, for example, if I change to something like this, I don't know, I'm making this up. Let's see how that sounds. Pretty cool, pretty cool. You see, so by clicking in here in the squares, we can make up new sounds. Now, you may be trying this now, and you may say, Andrew, I don't know how to make the sounds sound organized. It sounds all random when I do it. Well, I'm going to give you some techniques and some tricks on how to make really cool sounds, how to make really cool beats, but let's get to that a little later. Let's scroll down a little more. What's next? Okay, so what are these sounds? So let's go to the next page. Now we're actually, if you look at the top here, we are on page 2 of 10. Okay, page 2 of 10. So we're working our way through this. We have a lot of cool music to go through. So let's have a look here. What are these sounds we're hearing? I said earlier about how we had a kick was like a thud, a low thud, as you can hear. And we have our clap, which is meant to sound like a clapping hand, clapping hand sound. And we have a closed hi-hat. And we have an open hi-hat. Okay? If we scroll down a little further, we have some sort of different ones. Now, why do these sound different? Well, let me explain. The ones up at the... a lot of music these days is created electronically. We use synthesizers to make music with. And if I show you something here in my studio, let me just show you this really quickly. You can have a drum machine like this. This is an electronic drum machine. And this makes drum sounds. So it makes all kinds of wild sounds. It makes all kinds of wild sounds, but they are electronic. And they sound like an electronic drum sound. So they don't sound like they're found in nature at all. The sounds that we see in here, the ones that are on the top level, I'll show you again right here. These ones, these are from a drum machine. So they don't really sound natural. They don't sound like a drum set. They sound like they're from a computer. Okay? But the ones down at the bottom here, these ones here are sounds that sound like they're from an actual drum kit, a drum set. That are just sounds that are found in nature. Okay, so you may want to have a drum sound that's electronic sounding, like this one. Or maybe you want to have something that's more acoustic sounding, or sound like it's in nature. And that sounds like a real drum set. So depending on what your preferences are, you can choose what you like. Now let's have a look at some of these instrument sounds. First of all, the kick. The kick is the low thudding sound, the thud. Okay, and that's the bass drum. It says here it's also called bass drum, acoustic kick. So we have two different sounds. We have the electronic sound, electronic kick, and we have an acoustic kick sound. Depending on what you want, you can use whichever one you want. Now, you can click on these pads with your mouse to play these sounds. Or if I want to, I can click right here. You can see right here, I can click keyboard, and then instead of using my mouse, I can use my computer's keyboard. I'm tapping a 2. Now I'm tapping a 1. You see, so I can get the sounds from that if I want. So that's something you can do with this all the way through these different exercises. You can play with your keyboard as well, which is really cool. Now we have a clapping sound as well, which is electronic clapping sound. Sounds like hands clapping. And we have a snare sound. And this is a picture of a snare drum. Okay, you may have seen something like that, but they're found in drums in drum sets. And here's what the electronic clap sounds like, and here's what the snare sounds like. And of course, the snare is a snare that's found in nature. It's an acoustic sound. Acoustic means the sound is made in real life. It's made with a stick hitting the head of a drum. Electronic is created inside a computer. Okay, so there's the difference. Now, close and open hi-hats. Closed and open hi-hats. Okay, so this is a set of hi-hats, and they have they're brass plates that come together with a pedal. So they make a sound like, this is what they sound like in a real live drum set, acoustic. And that's when it's closed, when two of these plates are closed together. These two guys right here, when they're closed together, they make a closed hi-hat sound like this. And when they're opened, they make more of a sizzle. And on the electronic side of things, that's a closed hi-hat sound. And this is an open hi-hat sound. Okay? Now let's have a look at this right here. We have a kick, a clap, a closed hi-hat, and an open hi-hat for an electronic kit. Now I clicked on this little keyboard on right here, and now I can go 1, 2, 3, 4 on my keyboard. I can play them. So if I wanted to, I could take my time and I can go, I can actually make something up. So I can go like something like, that, and let's go down to the next one, because an acoustic kit would give us the same sort of effect. Oh, and number 4, and here we go. So, I need to practice a little, but this is a cool little way that you can make beats up, and if you like making beats, and if you like a lot of hip hop beats, maybe some music by, say, Jay Dilla, you'll know that Jay Dilla played a lot of his beats. Almost all of his beats were created by him hitting pads, hitting like keyboard keys or pads on his Akai instrument to make his sounds the way he wanted them to sound. So playing like that with the pads, that's a very natural thing to do. So you feel free to play with that. It's very cool. Okay, let's continue on.